Hi, I'm Sarah Noble, your host for the Modern Day Intuitive Podcast. For over 25 years, I've been on a spiritual journey, searching, learning, expanding, and growing. I've traveled the world, led by my heart, on a quest to know myself so that I can support others. This podcast was created from my deep desire to help you connect with your intuition and to inspire you to create a life where the impossible becomes possible and you live into your sacred dreams and desires. Thanks for being here and enjoy the show. Hello, my loves. I'm so glad to be here with you today. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another amazing reading. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to my event, The Intuitive Soul Awakening. It's a free event. Its purpose is to deepen your intuition, expand your soul, help you really reclaim the power that is yours to live the life that you came here to live. So there's a link in the show notes. I would love to have you join us. We begin August 1st for an 8-day event. You can find more details in that link. And I'm super excited to announce that this is the first video episode of the podcast that we are launching. So you can go to YouTube. There's a link in the show notes and you can actually watch the podcast. And for today's reading, Vanessa is here with us. She lost her mother last year and feels it has had a strong impact on her life journey. And she can really feel and strongly connect with her vision and the new future version of herself. Yet she feels a lot of stickiness around moving towards it. So she is looking for some guidance in this transition place. And what her reading shows us is the importance of looking towards the future rather than looking towards the past. That you have the courage and support of your ancestors in healing your generational patterns. How what your parents' actions showed you is more powerful than the words that they spoke to you. We look at depersonalizing shame and guilt and collective thoughts, and living from your inspiration versus living from collective unconscious programs, and stepping out of your routines to allow more freedom in your life. So lots of really delicious topics here with Vanessa today. I would love to tell you a little about Vanessa and her amazing work. She is a soulful designer and illustrator, translating the essence of her clients into web designs and unique graphics. And how I know Vanessa is that she created my amazing website and does a lot of my graphic work. And it just makes me feel alive and lights me up. Her creations are so beautiful. They just move my heart. So I am very excited to share her with you today. And you can find links to the show notes. If you are looking for a website, I highly recommend her. So enjoy my reading with Vanessa. I love you. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome to the podcast. How can I help you today?
Hello, Sarah. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, it's a good question. I came to this space without having real question. I just was called being here and sharing where I'm at and see what comes through you. And I think where I'm at is like there's quite a transition phase at the moment. Like projects have closed. I'm stepping into a new space of my business. My mom has passed away last year. It was quite a strong impact on my journey right now where I'm at. I feel there's a lot of shape-shifting, a lot of letting go of something, stepping into a new version of myself. But I can feel it's sticky. I can feel it's not easy to let go of old patterns, old beliefs about myself. And in the same time, I can feel a very strong vision where I want to step into. I have a very clear, strong vision where I want to flow towards. I can feel that there is quite a stickiness around it. And I just wanted to bring that here and see what comes through.
Yeah, thank you. As you're talking, what I see is all these wings. And there's wings of angels. There's wings of you taking flight. There's this big energy of pull is how I feel I got goosebumps just saying that. You are being guided and being pulled forward. And the way I see you is there's one hand that is being pulled in the direction of what you want. But you're looking back and there's a hand that is being pulled by these old beliefs. And what stands out to me in this image is where you're looking. Your head is looking at the hand that is being pulled by the beliefs, and it's looking behind you into the past. It has this sense of regret, and you're looking backward. There's guilt and regret is the way that the emotions want to be expressed, as in there was something that you should have done differently, and that you wish there was another way that it had played out. And so your focus is on this, whereby the other part of you is being pulled forward into this greater vision, and it's where you're focusing. So what comes up for you or comes forward for you with this image and awareness?
Yeah, it definitely reflects the state I feel. What comes at the moment through me quite strongly is the house of my mother, very, very strongly, like the past weeks as well. Something calls me back there. I do wonder if it's because I can also feel old patterns playing out quite strongly, like me believing that I'm not enough, that I have to do a lot in order to feel enough. Those are really old patterns that got very strong lately. And I am focusing that's true. Not sure how much also is connected to my mother still.
Yeah, as you're talking about your mother in the house, I see you building a brick wall around yourself. And it's a circular wall, like you're building it brick by brick as you enclose yourself in. And the way that I saw it when you talked about the house was that you're like going underneath the house and building this wall around you as protection. So this connection to your mother and this part of you that has to do in order to be worthy. Is there a connection that you have been investigating related to that?
What comes through a lot connecting with my mother is the feeling of shame, hiding from life, hiding from the world, hiding from others.
And is this in relationship to your relationship with your mother, or is this more about after her passing? Help me understand that a little more. Because the walls that you're putting up are this sense of hiding, right? In the image.
Yeah, I do. That's a lot how my mom lived her life. That's what I am walking away from when moving away quite young. But I also had it for a very, very long time because I identified myself with that as well. Like, I think this is still very much from my childhood that I'm ashamed of all of this, of even how we lived, I mean, a lot connected with the house and a lot connected with how we saw ourselves. My mother, my grandmother, they all disrespected themselves. There was not a lot of self-respect. And I think there is a lot still that I have within me that believes the same.
Yeah, it's so common that these patterns get passed down. And as well as the mental emotional component, right? Which I know that you work on. There's an energetic component of where this shame and this disrespect lives inside of your lineage. This came from way before your grandmother, right? This has been passed down through the women in your family. And you are here, my love, as the advocate for changing this, for moving forward. You are the place this stops. I just feel that in my body. And it's here and it's up for you because it's ready to be different, because it's ready to shift. It's done, right? Like now that your mother has moved on, and I get the sense like that's what these wings are. It's her, and she's really just watching you and holding you and thanking you that you are the one that has the courage to do what she didn't have the courage to do.
Yeah, I can feel it very strongly. She always referred to my wings and said, never let anyone weigh down your wings. You need to fly.
Yeah, because she couldn't, right? So she wanted you, her precious daughter, to have that gift, to know that she could do that. And she couldn't show you. So she did what she could to tell you. And maybe her actions, right, as a kid, when someone tells us something, but then their actions show us something different, it gets really confusing.
Yeah.
We don't know which is the truth. Like, you're saying this, but you don't show me, you don't act in this way. And as kids, we learn so much more through what people do. Even as adults, right? It's what people do, not what they say, that really has the impact on us. Who people are being.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot comes up now in terms of like remembering this, she being absent, not here, not, like you said, acting differently to what she said. And
her words came from her heart, from her truest wish for you. Because she didn't have the opportunity. Her mother didn't show her. But she did have the love for you to work to create a different reality through her words.
Yeah.
The portal I see for you in all of this is to really depersonalize the shame and the guilt, because it's not yours, right? It's just this pattern that's handed down. And as long as you're making it your own, it will be yours. So it's that practice of really getting clear that when shame shows up, when guilt shows up, when any part of you wants to allow yourself to be disrespected, it's lovingly setting the boundary that this is collective, this is family lineage, this is not the truth of me. Thank you. And I'm going to choose me. And then there's a place in there for you to get some support with the energetics of that. Somebody who can reach in there to your family line and pull those pieces back and here, give them to you. Those belong to you. They don't need to be stuck in there. And I did actually give you some of those pieces just then.
That's beautiful.
And as you do this, right, your head, your focus, it's like, what are you going to focus on when that shame, when this side wants to pull you? Like, even having that image as your guidepost, maybe, where you recognize the first thing is catch yourself, right? Oh, I'm in that pattern. And then see that image of you looking this way and being pulled into that. And then just turn your head and focus on the wings and see your mother and your grandmother and the whole line of women before you that did not have the tools and the skills or live in the point of linear time where they had choices. Right? A lot of why women have been disrespected and shamed and disempowered is the evolution of time that we live in. When you look into your family line. But you now today, you do have more choices than they did. And it's choosing them in those moments when that pattern wants to come in to disempower you.
Yeah, that feels powerful.
Where would you like to go from here?
I just try to see that in my image, to feel it in my body right now.
Where does that live when you play with it in your body?
I can definitely feel a heaviness on my right side and a pull. And I can feel a contraction in my head as well. Like it feels really tense. It feels quite strong, that side.
In your head, did you say?
And contracted. It's definitely a tension.
Do you experience that tension and contracted in other areas of your life? Like, where does it show up?
I think a lot in my thoughts. It's just this constant doubting, and it's a lot in my mind, a lot of thoughts that I have circling around this old belief, circling around this old belief that I'm not enough. Yeah. And I think a lot about that, and I doubt myself a lot, hold myself back.
Yeah. So everything is consciousness, and we are consciousness in form, and our soul is consciousness. Everything, right? Everything we see and know is made up of consciousness. And our mind becomes a portal for the negative collective conscious if we are not taught otherwise. So those thoughts that are circling in your mind, I would offer that they don't even belong to you. If you were to poll 100 people, they probably all would say, I've thought that before. That's a similar one. That one's mine too. We share all these thoughts, and they tend to be very disempowering, because at this point in where we are in evolution, that negative collective consciousness that is part of our creation and evolution is real, and it is very, very powerful. So the practice of recognizing this thought of I doubt myself, and it's running in a loop inside your head, what's happened is that your mind has become sort of taken over by the collective and who you are, right? The person that creates these amazing, beautiful pieces of art and web design and all of this, that's actually your true consciousness. When you are in that place, when you are bringing in that creative wisdom, that's the truth of you. And I imagine you can tell the difference in how they feel, correct?
Yeah. I'm not thinking a lot whilst creating. It's letting go. I'm in a different space, there's this easiness, and I'm not doubting whilst I'm creating, there's just playfulness and joyfulness whilst doing it.
Yeah. So in that place, consciousness is flowing through you. The true consciousness, right? God consciousness is allowed access into you and into your heart and into your ability to move and create and draw and bring something beautiful to the world. Then in comes the negative collective conscious and catches you. And it's the not self, right? The other one is God. It's the big self. It's the truth of you. It's who you are when you remember who you are. And then these others are more programs that we share culturally, societally. They're the programs and patterns that are running, and we don't even realize it. And then we believe they're ours. And yes, to some extent, right, you will have experiences that happened in your life and in your childhood that do validate these thoughts. So the process of really being with and nurturing those parts, not abandoning them, bringing them close, reminding them, and then also disconnecting from the mind and the huge part of the collective consciousness that we sort of ignore or don't understand, maybe is a better way of saying. And so for you, the practice of just recognizing which one are you connected to.
And I also hear when you're saying there's something very motherly about it in terms of like bringing them closer, trusting your ability to have a look at it without, getting lost in them and just holding them, but almost like soothing them from a different place and then not identifying with them. This motherly aspect, I find it very interesting, that I feel that comes up for me now a few times, that this is something that wants to be more present towards myself.
Yeah, you get to be the mother to yourself that your mother wasn't able to be. The one she tried to be, but it just wasn't. She wasn't capable, but you can be.
I want to be.
You already are, my love.
Mm.
It's just practice. Practice. Go a little deeper. Love a little more. Nurture a little more.
It feels good. Yeah.
I'm going to see if there's anything else. I see a dream catcher. It has all these beautiful feathers hanging off it. And the message of really dream big. Like you're so capable. Really allow yourself to be connected to that creative part of yourself every chance you get. Because that dream, like, and the feathers are just blowing in the wind, and it's more about that take flight, right? Like all these wings, the support that's here and available for you when you really remember that being in this creativity, it doesn't have to be just reserved for your work. This is the place that you create your life from. Don't separate them.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, keep looking towards that dream.
Yeah, I will take this as an inspiration to even ask that how one's creativity flow through me more, and just see what comes through me.
Mm-hmm. Like even in simple things, like you get up in the morning and you're making your coffee. You're probably that's one of the times when our thoughts can run rampant because we're just in a pattern. We get up every morning, we make our coffee. It's very predictable. And so what happens is the mind can really take over in those places and bring the predictable thoughts of what the day's going to be. Or I don't know, I used to think of all kinds of crazy things that weren't working in my life, or I had my thought pattern that went with my coffee making pattern. And I wonder what it would be like for you to ask in that moment for creativity to flow through you as you make your coffee and see what happens.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And I think what comes, I'm traveling soon to Italy for 4 weeks, and I have to step out of my daily routine, which freaked me out initially. I mean, still does a little bit, but now zooming out, I'm just seeing this as a really divine invitation. So play a little. There will be no routine, no structure. You have to actually step out and play a little and see every day how it comes. Now I see that it scares me because I'm so caught up in my patterns again, in this rigid energy. And I think this is life giving me the opportunity to absolutely step out of it, be surrounded by other people, by a different environment. I mean, there's so much to explore. Yeah. Now I feel excitement in my belly right now.
Yeah. And those patterns, right? They're loving us. They're like, no, stay here. It's safe here. We can predict exactly what's going to happen here. Don't go over there. Really go gentle on that part of yourself that is rigid in those patterns. It loves you. It's just trying to be with you in the only way it knows how.
Yeah.
And what can be fun is bring that part with you to Italy and just let it know, hey, we're going on an adventure. Like we're going to break out of these routines. We're going to see we don't need them. Sound fun? Come on, let's do it together. Like I have found great success in including those parts because they have so much value. Like if you look at this part that really wants this routine and you look at it through the lens of how is this really helping me? Like what are the beautiful attributes of this part of me? There's a lot to harvest from that. And you can take those parts and, use them because they're just misinformed. So you can just inform them of a new job description of, hey, this is actually what we're going to do because you've got a lot of useful things. They're just out of balance.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I love that. Love the idea. I can feel, instead of like being in the state, I'm starting to connect and almost like co-create with myself in terms of like bringing everyone into the same direction. But starting with connecting, starting with being open to connect with them, to receive, it's difficult to put it into words, but I can feel some shift.
Beautiful. Does this feel like an okay place to land today?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here today and making your personal and spiritual growth a priority in your life. To learn more about connecting with your dreams and your intuition so that you can create a life full of possibilities, visit me at www.sarahnoble.com and see how we can create magic together. A big thank you from my heart to yours for making the planet a better place for us all.